Hey, everybody. Okay, it is just a little bit after 1 o'clock on a Monday. So where else would we be but on our live stream? So as always, we'll start with some news. And I have to humbly say, I think the biggest news in the world of digital transformation today is the launch of my book. Is that the biggest news? All right, maybe not, but I'm going to start with it. My book, Winning Digital Customers, is now available on Amazon. At least the Kindle version is. The hardcover book, like what I'm showing you here, is actually going to be available in January. But so I could hold up, I guess, my iPad or something. But anyway, but the Kindle version is available now. You can get it now. And I have this goal, we'll see if I succeed, of trying to get onto the Wall Street Journal bestseller list. And so one of my tricks to try to do that is the first week of the book's release, which began yesterday, we are pricing the Kindle book at only 99 cents. 99 cents. I think the regular price is $14.99, which is a steal for 3 works of my life, if you ask me. Did I just say 3 works of my life? 3 years of my life. No, in all seriousness, this is a book where I've taken what I've learned in 25 years of consulting, working with large brands, and really try to synthesize it down into a digestible 5-step process for any company to drive digital transformation. It's based on what I've seen work. I've got a lot of scars on my back from working at a lot of companies that were struggling with digital transformation. A lot of successes, but listen, along the way, plenty of challenges that didn't go the way we wanted. And so all that equals learning. And I want to offer that learning to you. So honestly, I don't even think the price matters, whether I think the hardcover is going to be $27.99, the ebook $14.99, 99 cents. As far as I'm concerned, these are all meaningless numbers relative to, I really do believe the potential value to you. Whether you follow the whole 5-step process or whether you just take a few nuggets out of it, I have no doubt that it's going to be worthwhile to anybody really who's working in the digital space, whether you're leading digital transformation or you're a team member or you're just working on a specific digital product, whatever it may be. So I really, really want to encourage everyone to get a copy of this book. You can get it from Amazon right now. You can read it on a Kindle device, but as you probably know, you can also read it in the Kindle app on iPhones and iPads and Androids and all that, or even on a computer. You can read it if you want to, or if you don't have any of those devices, which is unlikely. You can read it right in a web browser. So plenty of ways to read it for 99 cents. You can't go wrong. You can just get to it by searching for it on Amazon, or you can go to if you go to winningdigitalcustomers.com. I'm sure we've got a link there that gets you to it as well. And again, remember that 99-cent price, if you're watching this in the future, that 99-cent price might no longer still be there. But to the best of my knowledge, we're going to be running that through the end of this week. So through something like the 25th of October, something like that. Don't hold me to the exact date. So just to be safe, if you want to get the book for only 99 cents, dash over and get it right now. But listen, if you go back over there, you're watching this 2 weeks from now and it's $14.99, get it anyway. It's well worth it, I believe. And in fact, what I wanted to do today, well, I actually had to cover one more news item just because it was so wacky. And then what I thought I would do is just give you a little bit of an overview of the 5 steps of digital transformation. The whole structure of the book focuses on a process for driving digital transformation in a company through 5 steps. And so I want to give you a quick overview. Whether you buy the book or not, this will help you understand what I've found to be the most effective way at approaching digital transformation. And, I think it's Gartner, I can't remember, there's a study we cite in the book that studied digital transformations, and something like 80% of them are considered to be largely unsuccessful so far. So that's a terrible track record. And so it goes to show you that there's a lot of ways to approach digital transformation. Many of them don't seem to work all that well based on Gartner's study. And we have an approach here. Lord knows I'm not saying it's the only way to be successful, but it is a way to be successful. That I know because we've done it over and over and over. And, I don't know why all those digital transformations fail. That's a shockingly high number. But if I had to guess, it's because they started with technology. And what you'll see when I walk through our 5-step process is technology is, of course, critically important to digital transformation. But if you start focusing on technology, you're focusing in the wrong place. And what my book is about, and you could probably even guess from the title, Winning Digital Customers. It's not winning digital technology, right? It's really about focusing on the customer. But of course, that's a very sort of vague and nebulous statement, focus on the customer. So, which is why I wrote a book and not a bumper sticker, right? Because it's not just about a phrase like, let's be customer centric. It's about really getting to the nitty gritty of what does that mean? like if we're going to focus on the customer, if we're going to be customer driven, if we're going to be customer centric. And it means very specific things. And there are a wide range of specific tactics that you can use. So I'm going to go through that. Before I do, I just want to mention one other. So, if the entirety of the world of digital transformation isn't focused on my book, they might be focused on another amazing story that dropped yesterday, which is that NASA has given a $14 billion contract to Nokia, the Finnish telecommunications company, to build a 4G network on the moon. So in the future, when you go up to the moon, you'll still be able to check Instagram. Although on only 4G, so I'm thinking, really? 4G? Isn't 5G like the new thing? And by the time we get to the moon, we'll be like, what the hell? 4G? Are you joking? But anyway, I guess $14 billion only gets you 4G, not 5G. I'm not sure. But in any case, so I thought that was pretty wild. I know there's a plan by, is it 2028 or something? I don't know, to try to put a colony on Mars. I hope they remember to bring plenty of ketchup for anyone who watched The Martian. We still remember that moment in The Martian. I don't want to spoil the movie for anybody, but it's not a spoiler to let you know that the guy gets stranded on Mars in like a base, like a habitat, and time's going by and he's trying to survive. But one day he finally runs out of ketchup, and that's sort of the last straw that you can't take it anymore. Anyway, hard to go out for more ketchup when you're on Mars. Of course, this won't be nearly so far. This will just be the moon. So probably by the time we're on the moon, you'll be able to get Uber Eats to the moon. Just put it in your phone and using the 4G network. Anyway, okay, that's enough about the moon. But I just thought that was amazing to imagine that we're already preparing for digital connectivity in space. The meat of what I thought I'd talk about today is really that 5-step process. So I'm going to bring up a little slide here. Let me see if I can do it in a way that's not there. Okay, I think you can read that. So the book is covers this concept that I call the customer love digital transformation formula. In the first section of the book, before we really get into the meat of the formula, I present this idea that really winning the love of your customers is the key to success in business, the most important thing. And in fact, the first chapter of the book is available for free. And if you go to wdc.ht/chapter, I'm going to put that up there. Yeah, or I think it's either you can do it either way, chapter or free chapter. In any case, you can get the first chapter of the book for free. Of course, the whole book's only 99 cents. So do you really need the first chapter for free? I don't know. But anyway, so in there we talk about the idea that winning customer love is the most critical thing to business success, and that today's customers are digital customers, which means that they have digital at the center of their lifestyle. So to win their love, you might have to operate a little differently. You may need to provide a different experience than the one that might have worked 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. So if you haven't dramatically changed the way that you interface with your customer, the way you deliver your services, and by dramatically, I mean transformationally changed, not just, well, it's the same, except now you can also order on the website. That's not really, that's change. That's incremental change, right? Versus transformational change. So if you haven't really transformed your business the way Netflix did from a DVD by mail business to a streaming video business, if you haven't undergone that level of transformation, you may be at risk of really no longer being in sync with what your customers really need and value. And if you're in that situation, you may, of course, still have customers. Absolutely. You may still be doing business. Absolutely. But that business is transactional, and it's going to be very hard to generate passion and real true enthusiasm from your customers unless they really feel that you understand them and you're meeting their needs in a deeper way. So this book is really about how to do that. So so like I say, the first section of the book kind of lays out what that's all about and why customer love is so important, and why it's really the key to success. And then the next 5 sections of the book each go through one of these 5 steps to achieving that. And so, sorry about this wire that I have to keep moving back here. Maybe I'll get a clip or something to go back here. Maybe if enough people watch the live cast, I will invest in some sort of a clip to keep my wire in the back. Okay. So this slide shows you the 5 steps. So understand your customer, map the customer journey, build the future, optimize the short term, and lead the change. So let me first just explain at a very high level what those are, and then we go back to them and explain them in a little more detail, just to make sure it's just not Greek. So understand your customer. It starts with customer research. It starts with really understanding who your customers are, what differentiates the primary different segments of your customer, understanding what's working well for them in their customer journey today and the experience that they have when they engage in the types of tasks that your business is meant to help with. Meaning, if you're a grocery store, it's getting food for their household. If you're a tax preparation service, it's getting their taxes done. And of course, some customers who are trying to accomplish those things are doing them with your brand. Great. How's that going? What is that actual experience like? And some of them are probably doing it with competitive brands. Some of them may not even be using another company. They may be doing it themselves, certainly in the case of something like tax preparation or changing their oil or cleaning their house or tutoring their kids. They may be doing it themselves. And you may have a service that could potentially replace that. But to understand what are they doing today? Why are they doing it? How are they feeling about it? And most importantly, what kind of pain are they in? Because the best way to create customer love is to meet unmet needs, to find a way to offer them something that they're not getting today that relieves pain and makes their life, more joyful. And it can be something small. An example I use all the time is Uber. Just so much easier to order a car rather than a taxi. You have to hail a cab. You just get to your destination. You just get out of the car. You don't have to pay. You pay, but you don't have to think about giving a credit card to anybody. Just removing little points of inconvenience and pain. Those things add up, and that's the sort of thing that creates customer love. So anyway, there's a whole formula in the book in the first section on the 3 levels of customer love. And I'm not going to try to get into that right now. I think we might have touched on it I don't know. I talk about these things so many places, I forget what we covered on the live cast versus somewhere else. But what I really want to talk about here are these 5 stages. So the first stage, as I said, was understanding your customer. And in the book, we go into great detail about a wide range of techniques to research and understand your customer and create a customer persona to really be able to summarize and synthesize what is really most important and actionable about that customer. And I would say to you, even if you have done some of these things before, what I hope and believe you'll find in the book is a bunch more detail and a bunch more techniques or specific tips and suggestions about how to accomplish different types of customer research that I think will probably give you some fresh insights, even if you've done this stuff before. And if you've never done this type of work before, then this is a great primer to understand, okay, I get the general idea of understanding my customer and doing research, but how do I get started? What do I do? And the book really walks you through that step by step. And the second is to map the customer journey. So you may have heard the term customer journey mapping. That's essentially what we're talking about here. In the book, we talk about first taking the information you got from the first stage, from understanding your customer, and turning that into a current state customer journey map. Because a lot of people think about customer journey maps in terms of the vision, the future state, and that absolutely is key to it. But what I've found is critical is before you start trying to map out the future, make sure you really know what is going on today. I'm amazed how often we'll go into, there's a story I tell in the book, which is we went into a number of years ago, the CEO and chairman of a very large entertainment company, and we described the future state vision that had been developed for their customer experience, digital, mostly on their website and such. And at the end, the chairman said, well, it sounds good, but isn't that pretty much how it already works today? And we were all like, whoa, no, it's nothing like how it works today. But the truth of the matter is that a lot of people in the room, they weren't experiencing their customer experience on a daily basis. They didn't really know what happened when a customer made a reservation or had to do a refund or wanted to upgrade or any of those things. If they wanted to do something, they just tell their secretary, get me a room at my hotel or whatever, and boom, it would happen. So they didn't really know. And the reality is in many companies, nobody really has a comprehensive perspective of what's going on today in the customer journey. So we believe that you have to start there. And then that transitions into then understanding what are those key points of pain? What are competitors doing? What is technology making possible today? And eventually leading you to a vision expressed as a customer journey map of what that future experience should be. What should happen? How should the customer find out about you? How can they learn more? What is the process of transacting and becoming a customer? How do you respond? How do you onboard them when you're a new customer? How do they receive what they ordered? What do they do if they need help? Of course, these answers are going to be quite different if you're if you're a chiropractor versus if you sell breakfast cereal versus if you sell high-end luxury yachts, right? But understanding that vision about how that customer journey should go and what is the vision of the future journey, the future sequence of experiences that will take the customer from not knowing who you are all the way through not just being a customer, but being a customer for life. What should that be such that it will really resonate with today's audience of digital customers whose expectations are being set by Amazon and Uber and Facebook and Instacart and all these brands, none of whom are perfect, but many of whom have created digital journeys without many of the pain points that legacy companies' journeys still have in them. So that's mapping the journey. And by the time you finish that, you've got this amazing, inspiring, but probably also intimidating picture of what you should be. And it's probably quite different from what you are today. So if you stop there, all you've got is a pretty picture and you haven't really accomplished any business value. So the next step is to build that future. And in the book, we talk extensively about design thinking. In fact, we talk about a number of updates to design thinking that we think really bring it up to date with the latest digital thinking. And design thinking, I won't try to go into it in great detail. In fact, we did a prior live cast all about what is design thinking. So I won't go into that in detail, but you can check out that live cast if you want to see that. But only to say that the book walks you through in great detail the sequence of steps to really take your journey map and turn that into reality. And then as you're doing those three things, and as you can imagine, that can take quite a while. Right? You might spend anywhere from a few weeks to a few months understanding your customer, although in truth, it never ends. You may spend, again, anywhere from a few weeks to a few months mapping the journey. And then you may spend anywhere from a few months to a number of years building the future. But why? So it could take quite a while if you're trying to create that inspiring future state vision and then make it a reality. But while you're doing that, there's two more layers. One is to optimize the short term. And the book goes into a lot of techniques and details for how do you have a process where you're every week or every month continuously scouring your customer experience that you're providing to figure out where are the little tiny points of pain that can be easily fixed. I look at it like almost a maintenance crew, constantly looking and saying, what are the little break fix things that we need to adjust? What's the confusing instruction? What's the little broken part of an experience? What's the missing feature that's just a small thing, but is really important for a certain segment of your customers? And figuring out what those things are is not hard, but it requires a certain process. And that process is described in the book, the process of really figuring out. And the book talks about where to look to try to figure out and try to find these little bits of low-hanging fruit. I mean, wouldn't it be great if you could drive all of your transformation just by little tiny quick fixes? Well, unfortunately, generally, you can't do that. Generally, to get to the real aspirational vision of the future, you probably have some sizable change that you need to undertake. But you also probably have some things that are confusing, frustrating, annoying, angering, disappointing, or otherwise creating negative emotions in your customers, which are leading you to negative business results with those customers that are easily fixed. So while you're working on the big stuff, how do you go through and find those easy to fix things and just keep fixing them? And any one of them, might not change the world, but if you fix 50 one quarter and 100 the next quarter and another 100 the following quarter, you know what? After a year, you fix 300 things, 400 things, whatever it is, it starts to add up. And we've seen that, and we have lots of case studies and examples, some of which are in the book, some of which I can't share in the book, but which really show that the money can really add up very substantially. In fact, sometimes the return on investment of these types of small fixes is even greater than the transformational changes. That is to say, a greater multiple, right? Not greater in aggregate, but you might spend, obviously it's going to depend on your business, but to truly engage in digital transformation, you might be talking about millions, tens of millions, maybe even hundreds of millions of dollars. It all depends on the scale of your operation. To do the optimization, you might be talking about tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars, or even a few $1 million. Again, it depends over what period of time. But when you spend $100,000 on optimization, you might get 10x, 12x, 15x back on that within a year or two, or even faster. Of course, no guarantees, right? But we've seen those kinds of results. Sometimes you find just one shopping cart layout that's confusing, and you make a few tweaks, and all of a sudden you have a 5% improvement in your website conversion, which equals $2 million a year or whatever. We see that all the time. Now, the key is, how do you find those things? How do you identify those high leverage points? Well, that's part of what we go into in some detail in the book. And then last is leading the change. So, of course, that's not really last, right? You can't end with leadership. You have to start with leadership. But in the book, we talk about leadership last because we feel like it's better to lay out everything you got to get done and then go back and say, okay, now the most important part of all of this is how you lead it. So in the book, we go into detail on some of the challenges around organizational resistance to change, how you overcome organizational resistance to change. And by the way, it's not only one answer. In fact, we talk about, I think it's 9 different reasons that people in organizations resist change, 9 discrete reasons. And then I think we give something like 12 strategies to overcome those 9 reasons. So it's a complex tapestry, but it's not endlessly complex. And what I really try to do in the book is give you kind of all my secret tips and tricks from doing this for several decades. Being in the trenches, seeing the politics, seeing the technology challenges, seeing the various kinds of resistance, various strategies of resistance. I tell a lot of stories about how we, what we did and how we got around things. And I'm hoping that by reading all that, you'll walk away not only with a bunch of methods and strategies, but also by reading the stories. I always believe people learn best through stories. That's how we experience our own life. Things happen and we learn from them. So I try to make sure that everything I talk about in there is illustrated with examples, some of which are funny, some of which were great successes. And I talk about my failures as well. I talk about a number of things, some of you may know, but, I had the great privilege and opportunity to be brought into Blockbuster as a digital strategy consultant when they were just past their peak. They were already in a little bit of trouble, but they weren't in dire existential trouble. Netflix was growing in popularity at that time, but they certainly weren't anywhere near the size of Blockbuster, and they were still just in the DVD by mail business. And I worked on a team that built out a whole vision for Blockbuster's future way of streaming video to customers, and which in many ways looks a lot like Netflix looks today. And we failed to get the organization to really change, to really take it on. They paid our bill. They hired us to do a whole bunch of work and create a whole vision. And everyone was like, that's an awesome vision. You guys are great. But they didn't really do it. So I think that's one of the big challenges, right? It's the one thing to come up with a vision. It's another thing to find to get the alignment, to engage the leadership skills, to be able to actually get alignment, funding, and to sustain that alignment and funding as things change and as people become more and more freaked out about the fact that you're really truly transforming the company. So gosh, I wish I had more time, like in a live cast, to really get into the detail, but hey, this is why I wrote a book. And full disclosure, the book is not a little book. It's right here. This book is 400 pages long, and I would add that we had to cut out a whole bunch of material. I hope it's an interesting read. Many of the people, there's a lot of great reviews of the book already on Amazon and on our website, winningdigitalcustomers.com. So go ahead and read those. I think a lot of people have told me, and I've been really happy to hear that they find it easy to read, fun to read, interesting to read, not like a textbook, not boring, which was really important to me when I wrote the book. But nevertheless, there's a lot of material in here. You're probably not going to read it all in one sitting. I'd be impressed if you did. Let me know if you do. Even I don't think I've ever read it in one sitting. But what did I want to say? But in addition to that, we provide a website with a whole bunch of additional tools, a whole bunch of additional templates and PowerPoint decks and additional PDFs and supplemental material, because I see this as a tool that I want people to use to get things done, to implement. It's not just a book to read on vacation and be like, oh, that was interesting. It's meant to be a handbook to actually execute digital transformation. So there's things we talk about, an exercise or a methodology. Then we give you an Excel spreadsheet to help you do it. Or we give you InDesign or PowerPoint templates to make your personas or to make your journey maps. I want to try to give you as much as I possibly can. I know there's a lot of hard work that I can't do for you, but I want to try to give you as much as I can to make it as easy as possible for you to assemble a team and really make it happen. So that's the book. I know I was going to go through the 5 areas at a high level and then go through them in detail, but apparently I'm not capable of that because I went ahead and described them in detail as I went through. So apologize for changing the game on you. But so that's like a lot of what the book is about. It's about going through these 5 areas and providing you stories and detailed strategies and step-by-step methodologies for how to get it done. And we also have a place on the book website for people who buy the book where you can ask questions. So I'm really looking forward to those questions, actually, because I'm sure as detailed as the book is, there are going to be things people come back with. And, I always learn a lot by just seeing people using these methods in practice, encountering different challenges. Maybe you'll encounter a point of resistance to change that's not on my list of 11 common reasons. It's a 12th reason. Maybe it'll be something I haven't seen before. I love that. So I want to encourage you. And hopefully I've convinced you that this book is worth 99 cents. Obviously, hopefully a lot more than that. But to me, it's not about the money, needless to say, but about getting the book in your hands. So I really want to encourage you to pick it up. If you're watching this in time, if you can get to Amazon, get it for 99 cents. Even if you don't have time to read it right now, you're going to read it over the Christmas break or whatever. I'd grab it while it's 99 cents. But hey, if you don't and you pay $14.99, I really don't think you're going to be sorry that you did that as well. But if you can get it at 93% off, listen, I love a bargain. So I want to make sure you know about a bargain while it's going on. We'll make sure that the free chapter page is where you can get just the first chapter. The link to the book on Amazon, I'm going to have to put in the comments. It's not a friendly link that I'm going to be able to remember. It starts with Amazon.com/ that much I can tell you. But you can also just go to Amazon and search for Winning Digital Customers, or search for my last name, Tiersky. Of course, you search for my last name, Tiersky, you're going to find some books by my mom, a book by my daughter, Rachel, who wrote a children's book, and some other stuff. But anyway, I still think you'll be able to pick out. There aren't that many Tierskys writing books on Amazon, so I'm sure you're going to be able to find it. Okay, so that's our live cast for today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'm going to get rid of my little diagram here. And I really hope you pick up the book. We are really, really excited this week on already the sales. The first day have been great, and hopefully the momentum is building and building. And I just ask one last request of you is, if you get the book and if you like the book, leave a review. Because I don't know about you, whenever I'm trying to decide whether to get a book or not, I always go to the reviews. Obviously, there's a lot of people on Amazon that are not going to be watching this video. And so I would encourage you to go ahead and, please leave a review. Let people know what you think of the book, what you liked. I was going to say what you didn't like, but you know what? You can leave that out of the review. Just say what you like. That's totally fine. No, I'm kidding. Write whatever you like. And and as I said, if you have any questions or feedback, you can shoot me a message on LinkedIn. You can put it on the website, etc. I'm really, really looking forward to hearing the stories of how people are using this book and answering any questions and supporting you guys as you implement it in your businesses. And with that, have a fantastic day. Thanks for watching.